the stuff on your mind and it's feeling unclear, just hop on the mic and speak without fear. Let's air out. Woohoo! Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about appliances. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the 2021 Appliance of the Year Award. And we are very happy to hand it off this year to the Bosch 800 Series SHP M88Z75N dishwasher. As we know from previous years, the 800 Series has been the best dishwashers we've ever had, and the SHP M88Z75N is no different. It contains quality features like excellent cleaning prowess, well-machined racks, and most importantly, something the competition cannot do, the ability to dry plastics well. So if you're out for appliance shopping this year, don't miss out on the Bosch 800 Series SHP M88Z75N with the award-winning Air in Air Out Appliance of the Year, the Air in Air Out's one word, AAA Appliance Award. The quadruple A, the Air in Air Out Appliance, AAO. The AAO. So congratulations to Bosch for taking that home. And we are back with me staring at my face in my computer. But this time I clicked the record button. I did some recording yesterday for Protein Paints. Just as like a little test thing. I had to, gonna have to edit that out in the video. Maybe I got to adjust so I don't show you what I just painted in the Protein Paints, because it is a gift for the Secret Santa we're doing. So I don't want to spoil that for all my viewers. If anyone actually watches this video, I don't know. Maybe it'll come to something. I think starting to do more video things is more important. Just get after you saw that announcement video I did and how uncomfortable I was just speaking to my camera in my own room. I feel like doing these podcasts, or at least it's more casual, and I'm not trying to read off a script and seem so robotic. Just congratulations on the announcement. I got to remember to get closer to my mic. Although I have been taking adjust. You guys can now see all the little things I'm doing, which now I'm even more conscious of it. I gotta go the other way, actually. There we go. This is going to be terrible for the audio, but now that there's video, I have an excuse, because you guys just aren't watching the videos, which who does? I mean, I like to watch podcasts with videos, but I don't just sit down and watch like a 3-hour podcast of just staring at the video. It's always, I'm doing something else. If I like gaming and like having a podcast on the side, then if they talk about something and pull it up, I can just like quickly glance over and see what's going on. But for the most part, I just like the audio. So, there's not going to be a lot of production quality in this video podcast. Also, not going to be a lot of me looking at the camera, because I like staring at myself. So it's just going to be me looking at the monitor slightly below my camera. But I'll try and keep glancing up at you beautiful folks. But why don't we just talk about that announcement video? That was big news. Big news for the end of the year. How do my teeth look? I have 2 chipped teeth. One here, if you can see it. And then up on the inside, you won't be able to see that one. When I was working out Wessick, though, we were getting ready to blow a pig, which I know you're probably as confused as I was the first time I heard that term. Hey, at the end of the day, we're going to blow a pig, and here's all the steps we use to blow a pig. And I was like, excuse me? I didn't know what I signed up for here. I'm just the pump operator. I didn't know what kind of pumping I'd be doing. So blowing a pig is this, just this like foam, foam. They always call it a pig. I don't know what the actual like scientific term of it is. A foam like tube, foam. Probably like maybe we used an 8-inch pig, so it was like an 8-inch cylinder, 8-inch diameter radius, 8-inch radius probably like 16 inches around, maybe like a foot, 2 feet long, and just you put it into the pump, and then you put an air compressor to it, and then it like launches it through all the hose reels we use to spread the poop on the fields. So it like pushes all the stuff to clear out the tube, and then at the end of the tractor, it all just like sprays out of the nozzles there, and then it launches out of there's like a pig launch valve on the back of the tractor, and then hopefully it comes out in one piece, and then our tractor operator can just like pick it up, and we can reuse it. But sometimes it just like explodes, or sometimes it gets stuck in the tube, and you gotta blow another pig. But I was setting up to blow a pig. It was December. It was not December, it was November, but it was a really bad November. If you guys remember November 2019, it was like snow immediately at the start of the year, super icy, super like frigid. It was like minus 25 and stuff. It was end of the day, but that being like 4 o'clock, so it was already pitch black. And I had to go to the pig launch valve, which this is gonna be very hard to explain because it's a complicated process. But essentially, there is one tube where all the poo goes from the bucket out into the field, and then there's like, if you imagine a Y fork, so the poo's coming from one of the top prongs of the Y. The other top prong of the Y would be the pig launch valve, and that's like sealed off with a gate usually, so that the poo's not like pushing in on it on the pressure. It's just like an empty compartment. You put the pig in it, and then you blow air from behind the pig, open the gate, and it shoots out. So that's the process. And normally there's like a little check valve that you can open up, and if you open it in the pig launch valve and no poo comes out, you can be like pretty certain that your gate's closed, there's not gonna be any pressure on it, and you're like safe to open the pig gate. So I did that. I checked it, nothing came out, so I'm like, okay, I'm good to launch this pig. Open the pig launch gate, and before I could even get like the clamp that's holding it, like a ring clamp around it, so you just pop the ring open and it like unfolds like that around the tube. This is for the video audience. This is why you're missing out on key details. My storytelling is gonna get way better now that I can physically show you what's going on. So the pig clampy opens up, ta-ding, and then you can pull the cap off, shove a pig in, cap on, pig close. So I'm like halfway through getting the clamp off, and then I guess the check valve was frozen, so nothing could get out of it. And then the cap just like blows off and hits me in the face, knocks me down. It's like a thick cap. It's probably like a 10 or 15 pound like steel cap that's attached to a chain onto the machine in case it does blow off. So it blew off, hit me in the side of the face. I didn't get unconscious though. I got a strong chin. Seems like that thing could not take me out, but chipped 2 teeth, and never did anything about it. They weren't chipped deep enough that like got to the nerves or something. But at some point, next time I ever go to a dentist, which I've been taking pretty good care of these chompers, all things considered, even though I've talked about my wisdom teeth and now my chipped teeth, so obviously not that great care, but they look kind of nice, I guess. Yeah, that was a tangent. So let's go back to that announcement video and not talk about me getting hit in the face with a pig. Ugh. This is gonna be tougher to edit now, actually, now that I thought I gotta edit the video and the audio. I just gave myself more work. And I still not liking how this camera is, but yeah, I filmed that announcement video. I was very excited to show you guys the 2 trailers. Was not so excited to actually like film that talking to the camera thing. I thought it'd be easy. I put it off until I was gonna record it like Wednesday, and ended up recording it on Saturday, the day I released it, and like edited it quickly and just threw it out there. So I should have taken more time, as always. I should have rehearsed my lines, gotten more comfortable, and then said it. But it's out there. You can see, I've had Chris reach out. He said he's looking forward to Steam Clean. Reed's looking forward to both. I filmed the first Proton Paints last night, as I was saying like 10 minutes ago, and I actually like watched the video back. I sped it up. It was like an hour 15 unedited, and I just like threw it on 5 times speed to get down to 15 minutes. And like I knew what the painting was going to be, and I was still enthralled like watching myself paint. And I watched it twice, both like unintentional. Like I just started watching it, and I'm like, what's this going to turn into? What's he painting here? Even though I knew. So I'm excited to get that out to you guys. I just got to record a commentary over that, and then just start. I think that's gonna be a fun series to do. It's very simple to film. All I gotta do is like tilt my webcam down and hit record. Don't have to worry about like my phone storage or anything. Just straight to my computer. That's gonna be very nice. So getting that done, and then getting Steam Clean. We gotta figure out the Steam Clean thing. How I gotta like poll you guys. See what kind of stuff you want. If you want like long form, like hour-long live commentary videos broken up into a section, or like shorter form, like 5 to 15 minute videos, depending on what's going on. I guess I could like do shorter videos if like some funny stuff happens, like separate that, put that into shorts. And then if you guys want like live commentary or post commentary, all those things. So that's feel free to comment that or let me know. But I'll send out a video too as well as like an introduction to the Steam Clean. And we'll do an intro video on the Proton Paints as well, kind of just covering what it's going to be. And also I'm going to go over like all my past paintings that you see on the wall that I don't have videos for. Just to give you like an introduction, and to also set your expectations low, that I'm not like a super great artist. but we're going to get better. And I think just by doing it, I mean, there is like a progression you can kind of see behind me. Like, I went from having no backgrounds in these guys to like full colored things. So like, I mean, that goofy painting, that's like a story. That's like the most important painting I've done so far. It's like my favorite, like, because it changed things for me. Even though there's other ones I like the designs, like the Cone Man. I like those, how they turned out more. But yeah, I'm excited to do that. Filming that was like frustrating because I had it all set up and I like just started doing it. And I did the pencil drawing. I draw out my things on the canvas first with pencil. And then I realized I forgot to hit record, which was like super frustrating. I just drew all of it and I was like, wow, nice, that looks great. And then like it just says record button. It doesn't say stop. I touch my nose a lot, it seems. My nose is very itchy. And that reminded me of way back in like, I think 2009, I want to say, when I first touched on YouTube as a young like 10th grader, 10th, 11th grade, 2009, 10, 11, somewhere around then. The big thing was like video YouTube commentaries on like Call of Duty videos and Halo videos. That's a machinima, if anyone remembers that stuff. That's when I like first was like, oh man, I want to do this. I want to make commentary videos. And I did some. I did a couple commentaries over my gameplay. I think my account name was Brockstar071, which I looked it up, and that is still, it just leads back to my Aaron Brock, not my Aaron the Brock, the Aaron Brock account. So like I still have that account, but just the videos are gone, which is a shame. And they're definitely not like on a laptop anywhere. I don't have any of that old stuff. But Brockstar071, but I remember I always had so much trouble like forgetting to click record. I'd set up, they had this thing called a dazzle, which it like used the those 3 colored cables, whatever they are, the RCA cables, if that's it. You plug those in, and there's like a USB out into your laptop. Then I had this like crappy dazzle software. It recorded in 480p, I think. Yeah, so I was recording that way, and I always forgot to click record. I remember one time, this is for the gamers out here, but we were playing Search and Destroy on Modern Warfare 2, playing on Quarry. We spawned on the defender side, and I like ran to this spot right at the start and like shot through this wall that like the attackers usually have to run by, like a cross map. This is a long range shot at a sniper rifle, and I got a collateral. Like headshot collateral, like first try. I was like, no way! A headshot, a collateral means you got 2 people. Headshot, they're both headshots. Through the wall, across map. It was incredible. Like one of the best shots I've ever hit in gaming. I was like, no way, this is crazy. I got it recorded. Looked at my laptop, wasn't recording. And that was like the last time I ever attempted to make videos. I never made a commentary again. Never recorded any Call of Duty video again. After that one moment of not capturing greatness, I think I hit record after that and tried to recreate it later in the game, and it just never happened. The magic was never there. And then I gave up on YouTube until until Dog Days came out. And that Dog Days actually has done like not bad. There's a good amount of views, like 500 or 600 on each of those. I don't know how they got that many. I don't know how people were finding them, but maybe that's what will happen with just this channel. The weekly wanders are just gonna sit there. That is something like I had to tell myself. Like it feels kind of weird. Like I put something up, it gets like 16 views. It's like, oh man, I was expecting it to blow up, but I gotta remind myself that like they're not going anywhere. They're gonna sit there, and people will eventually find this channel. Hopefully, if I keep on this progress and like keep putting in effort, which I have not been doing this week. But if I keep focusing on that and like trying new things, executing ideas, like painting, I started off pretty. Look at Kermit there, and then look at the new stuff we're doing. Like I really developed, went from 4 colors to like 24 colors. I don't even know what half of them are. Most of them look the same to me. I learned that about colorblindness too. I was looking at that earlier this week. I saw colorblind people, we only see like 2 to 3 hues of color, whereas you normal visioned people actually see 7, I think 7 or 8. So I'm seeing like less than half to a quarter of the colors you see. So if you imagine like the gradient of all the colors from like red all the way up to violet, in the visible color spectrum, you guys would see like a pretty gradual change. Whereas a colorblind person, I see like less, there'd be less colors in between. It'd be like an average of all these colors combined. So there's like if that makes sense, where you guys would see a bunch of different separations of color, I see much fewer, which impacts my ability to see colors in the regular world. So I'm just seeing. I was watching some other video about how our eyes determine color, and it's essentially you got these sensors inside your eyes that don't know what colors they are, but they react to different, I guess, wavelengths of things that are colored. So like I think most people know that the world is not actually colored. Our brain does the coloring for us. Everything, that's a crazy thought. Everything's just like, I guess it'd be like black and white or not. I don't know. I don't know what it would actually, like, the default look of the world is. I guess it depends on how your eyes work and how you see it. But our human eyes see invisible, not invisible, invisible light. What was I saying? Yeah, so we have sensors in our eyes. There's like some sensors that react to green, others red, and others blue. I think most people probably know that, RGB. And then depending on which sensors are turned on, our brain would know then, like if only the green sensors are turned on, our brain would go, okay, these sensors see green, so then we're all going to make it green. And then you get different combinations of things. So like if I see a combination of green and red, it would turn into whatever color green and red is. I don't know those. I could never figure out those addition things. Of like, oh, mix these two colors to make this. I'm like, I don't even know I barely know the base colors already. You can't just start mixing them together expecting to know that. I can't even see them already. So apparently my eyes are just like really crappy sensors, and they take like a wide variety of different colors to be green. Whereas your eyes would be like, oh, it's not just all green. It's like a mixture of green and red and blue or whatever. So that's I learned about my eyes. That's something I learned. And I've been trying to get back to this announcement video for the past 10 minutes. What was I trying to say? Oh, my blinds. See my blinds? I included that at the end. It's very hard to tell where that's very oversaturated from the window. I don't have any blinds. If you can tell, I never have them closed. And I've been having this like internal debate with myself of looking out across. There's neighbors like straight across from me. Another townhouse, like their top floor. And I've been trying to figure out if they can see me. I don't close them. I change right in the window. I look out. And I don't know how, like, if my private parts are visible through their window. Like, it looks like they might be. I can't tell if we're higher or they're higher. Like, if they're higher than us, there's a pretty good chance they're seeing my twig and berries. But if not, they're just seeing me, like, belly button up or, like, chest up. And I'm fine with that. I don't really care. Even if they we're seeing, like, the mystical fruits down there, I'm not too concerned about it. Like, if they have an issue with it, they can tell me. But I'm a free sharing person. I run a podcast, dude. Like, I don't got time to put on pants and close blinds for you. Like, get it. I got a busy ass schedule of waking up in the morning, doing yoga, then taking a nap after that, and then deciding what I want to do for the day. Which this week has just been like, I go for a walk, and I'm like, well, that was a successful day. You really crushed that out today, Aaron. I had this like epiphanous moment on Monday. I was just lying in bed, like silently. Normally I lie in bed and I'm on my Kobo or I'm on my phone or like I'm doing something to occupy myself. But I had the window open. I was just listening to like traffic drive by through the rainy road, and like you just listen to like outside silence and just like looking at the peaceful and like calmness in my room, and like just appreciating the room I had. And I was like, I started having these thoughts like I'm in way over my head. I don't know what I'm doing with this YouTube thing and this podcast thing. I bit off more than I could chew. I'm crazy. I shouldn't have left that like stable job. And I'm like, man, everyone's probably looking at me like, wow, he's like making YouTube videos like 15 people. Like, what is he doing? He's crazy for doing this. You know, all those thoughts you start to tell yourself, and all the self-doubt starts to kick in. And then my eyes tracked over to the accountability board, and I'm like, you know what? I think that's the key. I think the accountability board is what would lead me to success. Actually, like, you know, I made this thing in sound mind. We all go through periods of like really like hyper, like, oh, excited about things, like, oh, I'm gonna take on the day, I'm gonna crush it, to like, I don't want to do anything today, I never want to leave my room, I'm just gonna stay in my bed on my phone like all day, maybe take multiple naps, do nothing. And I made the accountability board in one of those like high motivation, like very confident in myself, very proud of myself, like, you can do this. So I know the accountability board like holds some weight, and I haven't really treated it well. I've made an Excel table, like an Excel sheet on my computer that I update that track all the stats on it, and I can see it like week to week how I've been doing. And then I took those. If you don't know, if you haven't seen the accountability board, it's just like broken down Monday to Sunday. Then there's like 4 things I don't want to do every week: self-pleasure, order food, smoke weed, and stay up late. And there's a bunch of things I want to do, like read, wake up on time, work on YouTube's channel, podcast channel stuff, play guitar, paint, all those different things I want to do, things I don't want to do. And then if I don't do the things, I get a check mark. If I do the things, I get a check mark. And I just add up all the check marks, and that's how I like determine how I've done for the week. So I've been taking that Excel sheet, and then I've been like giving myself a grade. So taking the check marks, making a percentage out of it, and I've been not been doing good. It's not. That's like kind of my grade on life, and it's like the exact same amount of effort I was putting into school. I'm getting like the same, which it feels like the same amount of effort. I'm getting like 60s, maybe some 70s, but like 60s, some high 50s. So I think if I like hunker down, which after this epiphanous moment, I'm like, I'm going to make a big change this week. This week's going to be good now that I know this. Like, if I start getting those accountability boards up to, like, the 80s and 90s, I think that's when I would start, like, hitting a stride and, like, doing better at making videos, because that means I'm, like, doing it constantly, and I'm not having these bad habits that just, like, set me back. If I do one of these bad habits, it's just, like, the domino effect comes. Especially if I just, like, smoke weed, I'm definitely going to order food, probably going to end up doing a little self-pleasure, and probably gonna stay up late and like play games with friends. Or if I order food, I'm probably gonna end up staying up late and then end up like smoking weed. And it's all they're all connected. So I gotta like just like give up on the pleasure, like the now pleasure, and like focus on being like, if you just like work hard and do other things, you could have all this pleasure in the future. Which that's like is a little counterproductive to my thought process of, like, be happy now. Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna be happy in the future, so I'm just gonna suffer now. Like, everything's gonna be better in a year from now. That's like, you shouldn't be like settled for a shitty life now just for the option. You should still have like some enjoyment and pleasure in what you're doing. Like, I enjoy making the videos and the podcast stuff, even though it's like hard to get me going at it. It's not like I'm, grinding at Wessex still for like 70, 80 hours a week, just miserable, being like, oh, well, in the future, I guess maybe it'll be better. Maybe I can do something with my life. No. Where was I going with that? But yeah, I think the accountability board is like, if I can get on top of that and actually like crush it, that is what's going to lead me to being more successful and like branching this thing out and, having more care for myself and putting more effort into the things I do. I gotta set up a little taller. That's a little better for the camera too. Better for my back. Gotta hide that photo still though. That's gonna take some editing. Yeah, that was a good start. That was a very good start. All right, sorry, I don't normally take breaks like this. Last week did have some things I want to talk about. Even though we haven't talked about work yet. I have not worked at UPS or talked to anybody at UPS since last week. I don't even know. Maybe I don't have a job anymore, but I'm kind of okay with that. I do have, I got enough money set aside that I can get to the new year and then start looking for another job again. This was also something I was thinking about, that like the unsustainability of my jobs, I think, is better for me in the long run than having like a stable, this is your job, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I think because I had that for almost 2 years. Great job, great place, like great coworkers. And I just had like settled into this very like lazy routine after that. I would go to work and then I'd come home and just like game and eat and like do nothing. Then like I'd hang out with people on the weekends by like just watching TV and eating junk food and playing games with friends. I wasn't like doing anything to like advance myself. And I just felt this, I was like in a rut of like everything I'm doing is right from the outside perspective. Everyone looking at me is like, hey, he's got a good thing going on. He's got a good job. He's on a right track. He's got good friends. He's probably doing aces. Whereas internally, I'm like, this is not it at all. This is not what I want. I have just like settled into this routine that's easy and doesn't really take like a lot of work or thought out of me. So like coming here, I found that actually like not having a stable job and having to always constantly like, okay, I need to make money now, so now I got to go out and do something to make money. That kind of like, it keeps me moving and keeps me constantly motivated to do new things, and like keeps me on my toes. Maybe if it's that like pressure. I don't really feel like financial stress, even though I don't have very much money. Like Ethan was talking about how he got a big check, and he's like it doubled his bank account, which was like huge. And I was like, yeah, my one paycheck from UPS also doubled my bank account. So it's, kind of on the same page here. But like I'm not stressed about money. I have way less in the bank than I like owe on my student loans or on like my line of credit. But I just have this like belief in myself and confidence that I know I've got a full resume. I've had 16 jobs under my belt or something like that. A pretty good number. Whenever I've needed a job, I've gotten a job. So I'm like, I know I can get money. Like that could backfire on me if the job market just like swells up. But I've done some pretty crappy jobs, like terrible jobs, and like stuck through them when I needed to. That Wessex job sucked, and I did it for 6 months. I was miserable, but like looking back now, it didn't do any lasting permanent damage, and it wasn't super terrible. I made it worse than it was by like not doing anything after work and drinking heavily on the weekends and stuff like that, and like not keeping in touch with people. So definitely, like if I can keep like a strong, like I think this mental headspace I've been in since coming out here, like I'm way more mentally strong. I'm way more aware that so much of my life is in my control, and like I've got to take accountability for my own life, the accountability board. I've got to take extreme ownership over my life and like not blame outside people or outside circumstances for the position of my life. There's a quote I heard. The problem with these podcasts is I have no idea what I've talked about before. Like I've got a big topic written down on here that I want to talk about that I'm not sure if I've touched on it on the podcast before. But there's this quote. I don't know the exact quote. I was listening to some podcast. I think it was the Honeydew podcast. I think it comes from AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and they said it's like you have no business over the events of your life or something like that. You have no business. I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up and I can edit it in real quick, or maybe I won't. I don't know. There's a tight turnaround on this because Will might be coming up. I'm not sure. He ran to some speed bumps, it seems, yesterday. Something's going on, so we'll see how Will's doing. Hopefully he's doing all well. Love and prayers to you, Willie. Yeah, you have no business over the circumstances of your life, something like that. And it's pretty much you can control the input of what you do in life. Like I can work hard on making paintings, and I can work hard on making videos, and I can like do my best on all these things, but I have no control over once I like hand those off to like the internet and how people respond to it. Like I have no control over what's going to come of those, you know. I can study really hard for a test, but I have no control that guarantees I'm going to like ace the test. And I think a lot of people get caught up in these. I think you see it in kids a lot. Like they get, when their imagined future doesn't pan out, they get like really upset. And like it happens to kids, you know, they like Christmas presents. They have all these dreams about getting Christmas presents. We've all probably been there. We always wrote our Christmas lists on Christmas Eve, which I think my parents hated. And I always wrote up things that like were impossible to get. I remember very specifically one year I wanted a full set of Harry Potter toys, but like I wanted like dolls of all the characters that I could play with. Also Spyro the Dragon toys, which I don't even think they existed, but I wanted to play with my Spyro toys and my Harry Potter toys, neither of which really existed at that time. And also it was on Christmas Eve, so there's no chance my parents are getting out, or Santa Claus would be able to like get it in time and like have that quick turnaround. You gotta give Santa a heads up. And then like I didn't get those things, so I was bummed out. I was like, damn, like that didn't pan out at all how I wanted. But that's like what life is. It's never gonna pan out exactly how you thought it was. Sometimes it does work out. Sometimes you put in a lot of preparation, a lot of thought into things. Things will turn out exactly as you expected, and then you can like keep on rolling. But a lot of times they just don't, and it's about how you can adapt to those and, you know, shift your own goalposts. You know, adapt and change what you want to do. And I think a lot of people are not comfortable with that. I think we see that in not in anyone specifically. I don't even know if it's a lot of people. Maybe it's a minority of people, and most people. This is all just semantics of talking. But I think there's a lot of people that like a lot of people once again that they have this idealized future of themselves, and when they don't get it, they just like get bummed out and they give up, and they're like, oh well, you know, I gave it a shot and it didn't turn out how I thought, so I guess this is just what I'm stuck with. And then a big thing for me was like realizing, well, if it didn't work out that way, let's try it another way, and let's just keep trying at it. That's, if there's one thing I'm really proud of myself at, it's I always, even though I give up on things, I restart doing things over and over again. You know, I quit drinking a few times. This accountability board, I haven't done great at it. Like I said, I'm getting 60s or 70s, but every week I record it, and every week I keep trying. And I tell myself I'll do it, and I think eventually if I just keep trying, I'll get there. Same with this YouTube thing. Making these videos, they're not like, I'm not putting in all the effort I could. There's some videos that are much better than others because I put in more effort into the editing and like more thought into the filming, and those came out well. So it's just, you know, keep rehashing it, keep grinding at it, and that's the key. And once again, I don't know how I got here. I've had a lot of weird dreams lately. I got that in the podcast list. Recurring dreams. I've had these dreams. They're a common one though. I think it's like teeth falling out. That's always been. The teeth falling out is never like directly related to the dream. It's always like I'm having a dream about something, and then while that thing's happening, my teeth are falling out, or like on the brink of falling out. Like they're very loose. I'm like very cautious about them. So I remember the dream I had this week about my teeth falling out. I don't remember the specific context. I know we were at some kind of like, I honestly think we were at outside my high school, but there's also like some kind of Christmas market going on at the same time. So like all these like vendors and stuff and like food dealers all set up, and the Impractical Jokers were there. The guys, they have like a TV show. They're on Netflix too. They were there, and they were trying to track down Michael Bublé. And they found Michael Bublé, but he was not the Michael Bublé I recognized. He was very overweight, had a very thick beard, and they kept saying like, "Hey, that's Michael Bublé, Aaron, that's Michael Bublé. We gotta track him down." Meanwhile, I was at this like this Indian vendor trying to get served, but they would not serve me because of the color of my skin. And then they were trying like, one sec. They wouldn't serve me because of the color of my skin. And then they're like, "How does it feel to be discriminated on by race?" And it's like, and I was like, "Not good. I don't like it." And then I was very concerned. Remember, the guy in front of me in line got the premium T1A sauce, and I was looking at the menu like, I don't even see that on the menu. I don't even know, how do I order that? And then they closed. The Indian restaurant closed, and I never got my food. But I was very concerned about like, because my teeth were falling out like in bunches, like 2 or 3 were coming out at that time. And some of them were just like really loose and wobbly, and I was like concerned they were gonna fall out. And I've looked up. Every time I look it up, they're like, "Oh, you have these dreams because you're anxious, and your anxiety. You have a big fear about something." And like, I don't wake up like in anxiety or fear. I wake up like, "Oh, that was weird. The old tooth thing again." I feel like it has no connection to anxiety for me, at least. Like I've had these dreams when I was dealing with anxiety, but I don't really have like any anxiety right now. If I did, I'd tell you guys. I told you about my hemorrhoids and about my wet dreams. So like, fuck, anxiety, that's no problem. I'll talk about anxiety all day. The other dream I was having is about like being chased, and I always have dreams where I'm being chased, but I'm in a group of people and I'm just like the slowest. It's not that I can't run, but I'm like, you know, just like running in slow motion, like my legs aren't moving, and the guy's like catching up behind me and like, "Come on, move," and like super stressed. I think that's probably like a recurring one as well too. Like, brains are dumb. Like, why they get more creative in your dreams. But yeah, just being like really slow, like, oh my god, they're catching up to me, and there's nothing I can do. This is as fast as I can move, even though I know I'm way faster than these people in my dream. Like, if this were real life, I'd be cooking it past them. There's no way Ethan's outrunning me in a dream. Like no, the only way he's gonna outrun me is in a dream. Like, no chance in real life. The killer's getting him way before me. And I mean, maybe that means something too. Like, oh, I feel like I'm falling behind in life, behind all my friends, and they're just taking off in front of me. I don't think that's it though. I think it's just a dumb dream. And I hate how like you wake up from a dream and you're like, a scary dream too. You wake up from a scary dream, and your brain's like, boy, that was really scary. Like, I don't want to go back to sleep now. That was terrifying. But it's like you made it. You were the one that was thinking that, and you were scaring us. I wasn't consciously thinking of this. Your brain, you were doing it. You were forcing those thoughts onto us. You scared us, and then you're like, "Whoa, wow, that was scary, eh?" Like, yeah, no shit. You made it scary. Yeah. Dreams, man. I also remember this, like, a childhood dream of some very close to like that being chased, but there's like this young girl that like had something out to get me, and she would chase me, and she'd be like giant. I remember having that and telling Ryan White about that recurring dream. Talking about dreams is cool. It's what what are they? Like, that's such a weird phenomena. And how, like, you can't ever, like, have a new face in a dream. They're all faces of people that you know or have seen before. That's interesting. Yeah, dreams are weird. I wonder how dreams, like, attach to, like, death. Like, before you died, you just fall into, like, an endless dream, and then time just lasts forever. I think other people, like, there's a drug DMT that's, like, a super powerful, like, hallucinogenic trip. Dimethyltryptamine or whatever, if that's what it's called. It's like a 15-minute, you're supposed to, like, blast off to space and, like, have all these visions of, like, other worlds and, like, entities that you can't picture. And, like, I think Joe Rogan described it as geographical shapes made of love and happiness. And they said, like, it's naturally produced in your brain, and there's, like, a thought that, like, before you die, your brain just floods your head with DMT, and then you go off to, like, this trip to, like, I don't know, maybe it, like, makes your ease of death, like, it's your brain's last mode of protection of you. And that'd be an interesting, like, death is very, very intriguing. I'm not really scared of it, but I'm not, like, stoked. I'm not, like, looking forward to it. I'm like, I guess a little bit, but, like, not right now. Like, I got stuff I want to do first. I got a couple things on my to-do list, but, like, when the time comes and I'm ready, I think I'd be like a little excited for it. Like, if I've lived a full life and I'm, like, you know, with the people I love, I'm like, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to go see what's on the other side. Yeah, it's not like, I don't think it's like a scary thing. It's just it's part of life. They go hand in hand, life and death. I also scared myself, like, lying in bed. Like, this might have been last night, where I was a little stoned. Not gonna lie. I was just lying in bed, and I thought to myself, is there anyone else in here? Not, like, in my bedroom, but, like, in my head. Like, is there another entity that is also possessing this brain and, like, could hear my thoughts? And then I was like, I shouldn't have asked that question, because I don't want anyone to answer. I don't want someone to be like, yeah, dog, what's good? I've been waiting for you. Like, no, I don't want to talk. Now there's constantly someone that can talk to me. Like, I avoid people as much as I can in public, and now there's no hiding now. There's just this dude that also, like, hey, there's only so many brains, dude. Sorry, I had to squeeze in here. There's nothing I could do. We'll just share. I don't control the body. You got the whole body, but just, like, I just come here to think, you know? And that freaked me out. But that's kind of like a chuckle. That's kind of interesting. That's like some Black Mirror episode, though, like, where the wife's dying and then she gets implanted into his brain. I guess that's probably where I got that idea. But this was not like a technological implant. It's just like, is there someone just, like, floating around in my thoughts as well? Because I don't know where these thoughts are coming from. I don't know where this personality of Aaron came from. So, there's something else I want to talk about that, but I don't really remember what it was. I didn't write down enough notes. I wrote down longer notes. Scare myself by asking if there is a gone else in my head, which obviously means anyone else, not a gone else. That's a more decipherable note than my other ones. That's like, McDavid shampoo, 18 Walker Gray. That's a note that's in my phone, in my jokes folder, and I don't know what it means. I haven't deleted it yet because I feel like there's something to it. Like, I wrote it down for some reason that, like, it would have made me laugh. I just don't know what that reason was. I actually got through a lot of, I thought about a suicide box. Imagine this, like, this, talk about an anxious moment. I had this idea. I saw this article that, like, Sweden or some company, Scandinavia, some country like that has developed a suicide box. Where you get in and you, like, push a button and it releases a gas that, like, will kill you. I guess, like, it'll knock you out in your, like, peaceful death. A suicide box. And, like, imagine you get into that box and there's probably, like, a button to, like, get out of the box and a button to, like, suicide. And the anxiety of picking a button, even though if you're, like, pretty sure this is the button to get you out of the box, like, I'm just testing it out. I just want to see how comfy it is, you know? You lie down, the door closes, you're like, oh crap, man, this button says escape, but what if it's, like, mislabeled and it is a suicide button? That's the end of the thought. But, like, that's, like, ooh, close. Thank you, Klaus, for interrupting my podcast and reminding me that I should vibrate my phone. Yeah, being trapped in a suicide box and it's on you to get yourself out. That'd be, I don't know, I have a lot of weird thoughts like that. Like, last year I was thinking about like being in space. You're in space and you get trapped. This whole podcast is just like anxious thoughts. Even though I just said I'm not anxious. I got no anxiety. You're trapped in space. You know, your spaceship has got hit by a meteor. You were thrown out of it and you're just floating by yourself. No communication with anybody. And it's like, how long do you float there before you decide to just like take your helmet off and you're done? Like, there's no, your rescue's not coming. We've seen how long space operations take. We're not at the point where they can just like zip a ship up, pick you up, and send you back down. This is no Marvel movie. This is, you're just alone floating above the earth, no contact with anybody. How long would you float there? Would it be like hours, minutes, days, before you're like, you know what, I'm ready, and you just pop that helmet off and you go? That's the thinker. That's the thought process. I don't even know how long I would last. I feel like there would be initial, like, a lot of fear and like, oh my god, what's happening? This is crazy. But then I think after some time, you'd have to like accept your reality that like this is it, and just like come to peace with it, and then take your helmet off. That's how long that would be, though. I have no idea. I don't know. But let's just keep this train going with anxiety and talk about the most anxious I've ever been in my life. And I think I've talked about this. I hope I have not talked about this in depth before. I think I've talked about the bad trip, how that like kind of spurred this new journey in life and like made me want to make changes. But I don't know if I've ever given like the full recount of that evening. I hope not, at least. Or if you have, I hope you enjoyed this 40-minute podcast and you can just skip to the end. But let's get into it. So we were doing acid, LSD, purchased from a lab in Toronto that produces it for a lot of like Canada and the US. Like they're a pretty big distributor. And this was summer. We were going to Ethan's house in Waterloo, a different house from this one here. And the day before, I had like a couple things to do for work for RJ Burnside in the morning. And then after that, I was working in Oakville, and I went and picked up Will in Mississauga and drove him up to Richmond Hill because he was going golfing with a friend. And we had plans to go to Ethan's that evening. So I said, okay, on my way back home, I'll take Will to Richmond Hill, then I'll go home, get my stuff ready, and then drive back to Richmond Hill, grab Will, and then we head to Waterloo, because they're kind of like north and south. They're all like on the same pathway, so it wasn't too much out of my way. So after dropping off Will, I get a call from my manager, and this is June or July or May. No, it was July. I think this was Canada Day weekend 2020. Yeah. And I pull over, I get a call, and I missed it, and then I pulled over, and like in a suburb, I just dropped off Will in Richmond Hill like 2 minutes before. So I pull over and give my manager a call back, and he's like checking in, hey, how you doing? You know, what's going on? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just making my way back home, finished up in the field this morning. And he's like, okay, a couple things. One, you are like, your costs you're charging for your projects, like on our timesheets, you write down how many hours you spend on a project. And he said, like, your times you're charging are higher than everyone else's. Probably due to the fact that you're driving from Barrie to your sites. So, like, your drive time is included in that time. But I was supposed to be charging from Mississauga, because I was working out of the Mississauga office, to my sites in, like, Oakville, Brampton, stuff like that. So much closer than Barrie. And that I was, like, super paranoid constantly for the first 6 months. Like, oh, I'm charging too much. I'm freaking out. And no one ever said anything. And this was the first time he said that. And he's also like, and do you know what you're getting up to in the next, for July? Do you have plans? I'm like, no, I don't. Like, no one's really reached out to me, and I don't really know what I'm doing. Another major anxiety I had about the job was, like, I don't know what I'm doing week to week. I didn't really have a lot of projects then. I was just I was a secondary on all my projects, which means, like, the primary, my coworkers, they, like, planned all the site visits, and I was kind of tagged along. I was there for, like, security and just to help out. So those were like my two anxieties: were charging too much and not knowing what to do. And he brought up both of them in the same call, and I was like, I just like agreed, like, yeah, I'll do better. I'll send out some emails, he wanted me to write out an email and like CC him on it, like to all my coworkers, and be like, hey guys, like, do you have something I can help out with in July? And thankfully I sent that email, and like everyone's like, no, we got nothing going on. So I think he kind of like clued in, like, oh, there is no work really going around for Aaron. It's not just he doesn't know what he's doing, like there's just not a lot for him to do, which is good. But like I got off that call and it's like, man, that's like stressed. It stressed me out so much. I was already like stressed out because I've been burying this anxiety constantly. So then I go on with my day, drive back home. I'm like super freaking out that like I only worked like maybe a 4-hour day on this Friday, and I was gonna charge for a full 7 hours. So I just like went home, showered, and then started driving back to Richmond Hill to grab Will after his golf round. So then we get to Waterloo, and it's like, honestly, this part we was just like a regular hangout, had fun, like chatted with Ethan and Martin, relaxed, ate some food. Then we decided to take some acid tabs at like 9 p.m. or something like that. I think maybe it was early, 8 or 9. And acid lasts a long time. It lasts like 12 to 16 hours or so. Not in like full intensity, but like it's in your system, and like it comes and goes in waves. So we're doing like an overnight kind of acid thing, and we took it, and this is my second time doing it, and it was great. It's super enjoyable, like super relaxing. You're having a lot of fun with friends, you're chatting about stuff, exploring life, and it's a really fun time and like a bonding moment where you all like kind of appreciate it. It really puts you in the now, as I've said before. Like it melts away all your thoughts and like anxieties. So all these calls and stuff that I had with my manager Travis before, like they had melted away. I wasn't thinking about them. I was just enjoying time with my friends and the boys. And then maybe at like 1 or 2 a.m. we're kind of like, you're past the climb, or what do they call it, the peaking, and you're starting to like, now you're just coming down to like where it's gonna like flare up and like disappear, and you go through waves of it for the next like few, like 6 hours or so. But they were saying that marijuana, if you take that, it like reinvigorates it. It fires it back up. So I'm very down to smoke marijuana. I had been pretty low on it. Like I hadn't been doing it much for the past week, and like your tolerance will drop really fast with marijuana if you don't touch it for a few days. So like a little bit will go a long way. But then when Ethan was packing me a bowl to smoke, a bowl being how you pack your marijuana in a bong, I was like, oh yeah, do more. Let's put some keef in there. Like it was a big one. It was a massive, like the kind of bowl I would smoke like after a week long of smoking weed, and where like your tolerance is super low, so you gotta smoke a lot to still get the effects. So I did that like off weed for a week. So it was way too much. And I remember initially, like when the weed first hit, for like the first 10 or 15 minutes, I was like, wow, I'm like feeling really good. This is awesome. Like I'm feeling awesome. Like I'm laughing, I'm making jokes. Like this is awesome. Super giddy. And then we're gonna sit down and listen to some music. We'll want to listen to Foreplay Long Time on acid, the Boston song, which has like a super cool intro. So we were kind of getting set up in his living room. If I can try and describe this for you, so it's a square living room. Back wall, there's a couch. Then to the right of that, there's a chair in the corner. And then coming down from the chair, there's another, it's like couch or like sectional chairs with like reclining chairs, but they're like together on that side wall. Then front wall TV, and then other side wall, which would be where the stairs were, and Martin was sitting in a chair there. So Ethan on the couch on back wall, me in the corner, Will on the right wall, TV front wall, left wall, Martin. If that makes sense to you. So I'm sitting in that back corner chair. Ethan and Will then go into the kitchen because they want to smoke some weed too before listening to the song. And I remember very specifically, there was in an instant, just a switch in my emotions. I immediately went from like having a really good time, this is awesome, to just like only hearing the silence in the room and like how quiet it was. And I was like, hearing like muffled voices of Ethan and Will in the corner. And I'm looking at Martin. He's just kind of like doing his own thing, sitting across from me. The TV's on pause, and I'm like, what just happened? Like I was very aware of this. Like something just changed instantly internally. Like, I mean, the situation hadn't changed. The only thing that changed was Ethan and Will left the room. And now I just felt like very aware of what was going on. So they finish up and they come sit down. Ethan sits on his couch. Will sits on the other one. And we put on Foreplay Long Time. All the lights are turned off. It's pitch black. It's just like the album art of Boston playing. So the song starts playing. It's like I don't know, like a minute and a half, 2-minute intro. Very cool intro. If you haven't heard the song, I'd say go listen to Foreplay Long Time. But the song starts playing. And I start getting like really uncomfortable. Like very like, I didn't like how I was sitting. I'm looking around the room, like what's going on. I can't like focus on the music. And I start getting these thoughts in my head, like what is this situation we're in right now? Are we, I don't know how I got to it, but I was like, I wonder, like, are people aware of how uncomfortable I am right now? Like, and we've all heard about like bad trips. I'm like, oh man, I'm having a bad trip, aren't I? Like, this is it. So I'm looking around the room and I start to wonder, like, can these guys hear my thoughts? Like, can they hear what I'm thinking right now? And I remember I look over at Ethan and I'm like, in my head, I'm going, Ethan, can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm thinking? And at that moment, he like turns over to look at me and nods. And I'm like, holy shit. And in retrospect, I think he was just like this song is sick. Like he's like fired up. He's into the song. He's looking at me like, yeah, man, this is awesome. He's having a totally different experience than I am. Now I'm like, oh my God, Ethan can read my mind? Like that doesn't make any sense though. But what if Ethan's not real? What if none of this is real? And then I start looking around the room like, I think all these guys are just figments of my imagination. I think I've invented Ethan, Martin, and Will. And I think they're just like separate portions of my personality. And I swear there was like this blink of an instance where all the chairs were then empty. And I was sitting alone in this room in Helene. And I was like, I don't know where I am right now. I don't know. Like, I thought this was Ethan's house, but if it's not Ethan's house, is this my house the whole time? Has everything that I have lived actually just been in my head and I've just been in this room my entire life? And so I started like panicking and have like a panic attack and I like get up and like I got to go outside. And like I walk out the back door. I'm like, oh, like breathing super deeply. Like my heart's racing. Like I'm freaking out. And I'm still myself and I'm still like conscious of what's going on. I'm like, okay, yeah, just get some fresh air. Kind of like, it's a beautiful night. Just take it easy. And then I go back inside. And then I'm like, I'm having some, I think I'm having a bad trip, guys. Like I'm having like some schizophrenic, thoughts and like disconnecting from reality. And I go back and sit in my chair and I swear like the intro to the song is still playing. So that'll tell you how little amount of time has passed and all these thoughts are going through my head. But in my head, I'm like, oh my God, how many times have we listened to this song? This like, I swear I've heard this intro like 10 or so times. I'm stuck in this Foreplay Long Time loop. It's the longest time. It's infinity. It's the Foreplay longest time. And this, like, the song never ended. So I don't really have memory of this. I go back outside. I don't remember when I went back outside. But I go back outside and then Martin comes out. He's like, hey, yeah, it's the weed. Like it heightens your anxiety. And then since you're on acid, you don't really know how to cope with it, and you don't know what's going on. But like it'll pass. Like once the weed's out of your system, you'll be good. Like hour and a half, 2 hours, like you'll be fine. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I was just slowly like spiraling into madness at this point. And like I started forgetting who I am. Started forgetting how to talk. Martin, like I don't know who this Martin guy is standing next to me, but he seems very friendly. And I had met Martin multiple times before, so like in my normal state, I knew Martin, but in this altered state, I was like, I have no idea who this Martin guy is, but he's kind of like a guru to me. Like I think I need to stick near this guy. He seems to know what's going on. And then eventually, Ethan and Will end up coming outside, and I'm just like sitting in a lawn chair, just like shaking. Like I felt like I was in a snow globe, and it was nighttime, and I was like, time was not passing. I was certain that this moment I was in forever was going to last forever. I looked around and I recognized everybody, but I didn't know who they were or what their names were. I didn't know who I was, what my name was. I couldn't figure out how I got to Ethan's house. I was like, I drove here? Like I drove here and I have a job? Like I didn't remember any of this stuff. I had these thoughts of like, oh man, I'm gonna go back to my parents. They're gonna be like, what happened to Aaron? Like, why does he have no idea what's going on? How did he get like? It's like he got that Men in Black flash thing on him. And he's just like he's a different person. He has no idea what's going on. And I remember that constantly like, Martin, okay, Martin's my guy. Rely on Martin. Talk to Martin. He'll get you through this. And then Will, at one point, Will's like, man, I can't see you like this. And he came across and like gave me a hug. And he's like, it's okay, buddy. Like, you're gonna get through this. And I was freaking out. Like, I don't know what's going on, but like, I'm looking at Will. I'm like, okay, this guy, I know who this guy is, but he's like a good guy. I'm gonna rely on him. He's like, he seems to protect me. So I'm gonna lean towards this guy. And I had a lot of moments where I couldn't distinguish between my thoughts and whether I was speaking. I didn't know if when I was thinking something, I guess because like the weed had like, makes you like feel light in your body, and like, you can't really feel much of what's going on. So like I couldn't feel my lips actually moving. So when I was thinking, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm saying this out loud or if I'm just thinking. So I would put my hand over my mouth just to ensure that when I'm thinking, my lips aren't moving, just like make sure my mouth stays shut. And then I wanted to make sure I could still talk. So it'd be like moments of silence and then me just going, I'm talking. Speech. I need to speech. Talking is important. I was like, I need to reconnect with this group, which is it's a method I have developed since that moment. I call it retethering. You need to retether to the current world. And I use that for like all kinds of anxiety now. Maybe you guys could use it too. Honestly, it's when you just get lost in your own thoughts and you start convincing yourself about like crazy things and getting worked up about things that aren't happening or could potentially happening, and like, you're kind of like just sitting in one spot, like lying in your bed, just like staring at a wall, just your mind's racing. And then like retethering would be finding some way to connect back to the physical world, where talking to people is like a great way to do it. That's kind of what I've been doing lately. Like if you ever like smoke weed or stuff with me, I'll just like ask random questions, and that's me like I'm retethering. I'm in a spiral here, so I'm like coming back to the real world, and I'm joining you guys. So that's why like out of the blue I'll just say like random stuff, or like ask very particular questions about what we're watching, just to like get myself involved in the group again. So like I would do that, and I would get better. I would do my talking, and then I'd start to like figure out what's going on. I'm like, okay, yeah, right. I am Aaron. I drove here, and we're on some drugs, and they're gonna pass, and everything's gonna be fine. And then I would like, it'd be like I'm about to breach the surface, coming out from the water, and like rejoin everybody, and I just get pulled back down and like lose all of it, and like forget what's going on, and like, damn it, like, I was so close. I felt I was so close to figuring out what was going on, and I could not figure out what's going on, what this moment is. And then like it started raining at one point, and we're all just like sitting out in the rain. I'm constantly shaking. I was so sore the next day, just from like physically, just like my muscles were tense, and I was shaking because I was so uncomfortable. And I deduced the next day that was like all the anxiety I'd built up and like stuffed down for years and years was just like all released at once, and my body just could not control it, especially being on acid, and like my brain couldn't process what was going on, and like I was just that uncomfortableness. So it started raining at some point, and it's just a lot of, I remember all of I didn't like black out at any point. I don't really like remember specific conversations they had because I was like in my own head doing other things. I know I gave Will some kind of weird name, some B name or something. I don't remember what I called him. I'd given everyone like some nicknames, but I don't recall what those were. Maybe they will, but I don't. Martin might. He's got a good memory for that stuff. And then I remember going back inside and like getting up and walking around. That's like another good way to retether, actually. Just like the neuroscientist I talked about last week, Andrew Huberman, he said that like just looking around the room, like looking in one space can like cause anxiety, but like just looking around the room and like looking at your surroundings can like help calm you down too. And like getting up and walking around is that same thing, like just head movements and like, yeah, getting moving. And then like, so it was raining, we're going to like go back inside. And at that point I was like starting to feel like more normal. And I was like, okay, boys, don't worry. When I wake up, I'm going to be back to 100%. I got it. And then like I crawled into my sleeping bag on the couch, just like continued to shake until I fell asleep. I slept for maybe like 2 hours or something. A very low amount of time. But then after that, I woke up the next morning feeling like incredibly refreshed and like freed. Like I had used up all that anxiety and now it was out of my body and it's gone. And I was really overcome. Like I really wanted to talk to Sarah, who we had like broken up before that in like April or something before that. And I was like, man, I really just got to talk to her and like tell her what's going on. So like I called her and we talked for like an hour, not even, but like about like, hey, yeah, I've been going through like a ton of emotional like distress, and like I've been in a really bad spot and I don't know what's going on. And I had this night last night where I was like, wow, I cannot live with all this anxiety inside of me. I got to start sharing it and like getting it out. Let other people like help me carry the weight of life, you know? And that like really changed after that was the year like I started going to therapy and talking about stuff and like just letting stuff out. And now when stuff comes up, I just, rather than like hide it or like try and figure it out by my own, I just like share it with people and like tell people. And that's what this podcast is too. Just me like taking things that I'm struggling with or can't figure out and just, sharing it out with you guys. And hopefully you guys can hear something and find that revelation that I found too, that, sharing the people around you, like they care about you and they want to help you. They don't want you to be going through distress because they're probably going through like stressful things themselves, and they don't want to share that experience. They don't want you to go through that shared experience. No, they do. They don't want you to go through that experience by yourself. They want it to be a shared experience where we're all like, hey, yeah, like this stuff's really bothering me. Like, talk about it. And this was, yeah. That was, there's some more comedic moments in that trip story, the bad trip, but one of them is not very politically correct, even though I think it's the funniest part. So I decided to withhold that information. But for the most part, yeah, that was. And then like the next day, I talked to Sarah for an hour. Then my friends all came out and like explained to them like the journey I had and like how I feel, and they're like, "Wow, that's very cool. Like that's awesome. So glad like you could like figure that stuff out." And then like since then, I've been like much more open to sharing things and asking questions and like just taking care of my brain and not just taking care of my body. Even though the body is taking a bit of a beating. We have been ordering too much food lately. And I also slept through yoga today. I did a corpse pose for an hour and a half. I remember my alarm going off this morning, and then I normally have a backup alarm for like 7:15. I guess I turned it off at some point earlier in the week though. So I just like slept until 9:30 when I woke up. And it's like, oh crap, sorry Ethan, no yoga for me today. Oh, but yeah. And then we recorded a podcast, and here we are. Back. I guess you'll be hearing this on Friday. Maybe you'll be seeing me on Friday. Hopefully I've been looking at the camera enough for this stuff. I've been feeling like it, but I watched this I was watching this documentary last night. There's this guy Porcelain on YouTube that he does like documentaries on comedians. But it looks like he just does it on comedians he hates, and like he just rips on them and how they're not funny and how they're like hypocritical and stuff like that. So I was watching this one on Joe Monterese, something like that. I don't really know. He's this guy who's like 45 or something. He's like still trying to break into the comedy scene, and like he starts like new podcasts every 3 weeks, and he doesn't commit to anything. He's always just like starting new things. And that was like it was both encouraging to be like, okay, Aaron, if you don't work hard, you're gonna end up like this guy, like wife and 2 kids, and he's like just constantly on Facebook Live trying to talk to like 30 people and like starting new podcasts that get 10 listeners. He's got like 5 constant Patreon people, so he makes like $40 a month on Patreon, and he's like living this delusional dream that he's gonna blow up and be famous. And I was like, okay, if you work hard, you cannot be like that guy, but also you could very well turn into that guy. Like knowing my work ethic, if I don't figure out this accountability board thing, if I don't apply myself and like really put in the effort, I could very much end up like in denial like this guy. But I think being aware of that being a possibility, and being aware that like this might not be the thing for me, but it is the thing I enjoy right now, and just being open to like if it's not working out, pivoting to something new. I mean, like I never thought painting would pop up in my life. I was like, oh, I'm gonna come and like do stand-up comedy and make comedy sketches and I'm gonna blow up probably like by the end of 2021. I'm probably gonna have like a few thousand subscribers and be like a pretty known guy. And that just it was a fun fantasy to live in. It was kind of pushed me to like make the changes, but it's usually not gonna happen that you have like a breakout success like that. Very, very lucky horseshoes aren't that lucky. And I think a lot of the lucky horseshoes turn out to be just like my an optimistic look on life. I think I've touched on that before. I wonder how many times I both say, what was I talking about? And I think I've touched on that before. Those are like the 2 themes of this podcast. It's me not knowing what I'm talking about and feeling like I've already talked about it before. I both not talked about it and talked about it. Schrodinger's podcast. But yeah, wow. That was not the episode I thought it was going to be. But I think the camera seems to be very good at making me more relaxed and speak more openly and honestly. And this episode wasn't really full of the funny stories, but I think it's a good contrast to have. As long as it's entertaining to listen to, I don't think it has to necessarily be funny all the time. I think trying to force comedy just makes for worse comedy, as you could see in in other podcasts where I'm so caught up in how long it's been and how much time there is, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna read these little jokes that are on my phone, and maybe if I get them to laugh, they'll forget about how slow this podcast has been. When really, I think the key to this thing is just being me and sharing my thoughts and entertaining you guys for like an hour and a half. So, yeah, that's it. I think we're gonna wrap this puppy up. We gotta clean the house. Gotta reach out to Willie, see how he's doing. And as for that, I think next time you'll hear me, it will be Christmas Eve. Yeah, next week's episode is going to be Christmas Eve. I've got a bunch of phlegm clogging up my nasal passage, and hopefully I haven't just slurred. Hopefully I didn't do this whole podcast in cursive and it's been enunciated well. But anyhoozle, thank you for listening. If you're watching, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video portion if you did watch it. Maybe if you listen to the audio, if you could just go check out a bit of the video portion. You don't have to watch the whole thing. There's not gonna be anything popping up on screen, no pictures or anything popping up on screen. But if you could just go to the YouTube channel and be like, hey, that's a good quality. If I had the option to watch it on video, I would watch it. That's all I want to know. I don't really care how you listen to this or watch it. I wish I had a better metric of where people were watching. I wish there's no way on Spotify for you guys to reach out on me, and I wish it was better for that. Wish there was a better community structure on Spotify. Or other things like Google. Google, I just know when Reed listens to it because he's the only one. And then Apple, I don't really check. Someone's mom wrote a review on my Apple, and we think it was Sarah's mom, but their Apple account was just a friend's mom. They're like, good job, Aaron, talk about tough topics. Good for you. So if that was your mom, let me know. And thank your mom for me for reviewing the podcast. I don't think any moms listen to this now. The age viewership has really dropped off. There's not a lot of... I don't think my parents listen to it anymore, which is good. Which I'd prefer it that way. I'm doing this for the young folks that are on their journeys as well, figuring out what they want to do in life. And I think that's what I got to do too. Is I got to start, in addition to the accountability board, is start making a calendar. I got to get one of those whiteboard calendar things, and then plan out my days. Because right now, when I wake up, and I'm assuming I'm not working anymore. Ugh. But when I just have a free choice of there's so many potential things I could do, there's so many things on my list I could do, I end up doing nothing because it's that decision fatigue. There's too many things I could do, therefore I'll do none of them, and just I'll go for a walk, and that's about it. That's my productivity. I'll go for a walk and play guitar, and that's that's a successful day, I guess. But I think I need to start planning out that way in the morning. I can just wake up and be like, okay, what am I doing? First things first, yoga. Then what am I doing after yoga? I am going to write my 200 words. Then after that, I'm going to edit a video or film a painting or film a steam clean, whatever. Get that out. And then it's, I think, having a clearer plan for my weeks will make things more efficient for me and help me keep on task and give myself less things to decide and just pre-decide for me. So, schedule, accountability board, and then I keep telling myself the new year, that's when I'll really get going. I can be lazy now, and then once 2022 hits, then the real work begins. But I feel I should get that stuff going before 2022, because then before you know it, I'll be like, you know what, 2023 is going to be my year. 2022 just set up some basic groundwork. Then 2023 we hit the ground running. So, yeah, just gotta be more accountable. But we recorded the podcast. We got a video podcast done. Felt good. feeling great. Let's go see what the rest of the house is up to. So you guys enjoy your weekend. It's looking like a green Christmas here. So enjoy your cutting your lawn and stuff like that, taking out the trash and other household chores. Enjoy whatever you're doing when you're listening to this. But take care of yourselves. Go check out that Bosch 800 series S77B, whatever that dishwasher was. I forgot I did that until right now. That's how bad I am at intros. I'm just gonna review an appliance for my intro. I remember in English class they're like, you need to have a good hook for your presentation. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna stage a robbery for our hook. I'm gonna stand up and be like, I don't remember who the guy was, the great grandson of Isaac Huckleberry, and I'm here to tell you the story of my grandfather. It was a good hook. Everyone was paying attention. So that's just how I'm gonna start these podcasts now. It's just something very random and non connected to the rest of the podcast, but just it makes me. I'm like, if I just review an appliance, that could be a fun way to start the podcast. That's unique. I'm rambling. I'm getting off track, but let's wrap this up. Thank you for listening or watching, and we'll see you on Christmas Eve. Hey, you did a great job listening to this podcast, and I really think you're going to do a great job again next week. So be sure to tune in to Air In Air Out every Friday on Spotify, Google, and Apple. Also, find me on YouTube at Aaron the Brock. Take it easy, folks.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed your stay. Now take what you learned and have a great day. Damn, it feels good to air out.